Welcome back to the Gruber Motor Company Gruber Morning Show. I'm Pete Gruber, and my co-host today is Aaron McKenzie, who actually was our first co-host on this podcast. You remember that?
I do, yeah. Thanks for having me, Pete. Good to be here.
Welcome, yes. We've got a lot to cover today. We're streaming on a number of different platforms, and first thing we want to explain is, what is that picture behind us? And one of our more popular things here for the audience is that we post pictures from my decades of taking photography or taking pictures. This happens to be Taliesin West, which is here just outside of Scottsdale, Arizona. It's Frank Lloyd Wright's school for architects. And you can tour, you can visit. It's a pretty cool place to hang out because you see so much of Frank's influence in the architecture at Taliesin West. There's, of course, a Taliesin East as well, but the only one that I've been to is Taliesin West. So this is one of the images, and each week we will feature one of the cool images that I've collected over the years. Again, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. Tell us who you are and where you're coming in from, because our audience tends to be global, and it's always fun to see from how far away these questions are coming. If there's anything that you would like us to cover in next sessions, feel free to either email us your question after the podcast or ask us in this podcast, and we'll do the research and bring it, because you guys really help us develop our content.
Awesome.
So got a number of things to cover today, and one of the first things that I wanted to start with was I did an interview last week with Business Insider, and the question was, are Roadsters, Tesla Roadsters, becoming collectible? And I gave my opinions on that, having managed the Tesla Roadster matchmaking site for almost 2 years now, which is on our website, and it's a free service to the Tesla Roadster community to help them sell their Tesla Roadsters. And our mission is quite simple. It's completely free, by the way. We don't take commissions. We don't scam anything off the top and off the bottom. We do this completely free, and our goal is to unite buyers with sellers. And what invariably happens, unlike auction houses where you really don't have anyone to talk to, we provide tech support for both the sellers and for the buyers. And we unite the buyers with sellers so they take over and handle their own financial negotiations and transaction. And then after the fact, if there's a successful purchase, we help with either free escrow service or with transportation. So check out our website, grubermotors.com. It's completely free, and if you're interested in Tesla Roadsters, you'll see dozens of them for sale. You can also see the ones that have already sold. So anyway, this magazine came to us, and we're curious about what our experience selling Tesla Roadsters has been. And we pointed out that in the last couple of years, the value of Tesla Roadsters has really doubled, and we have begun to see a new type of client appear, which are the serious car collectors. And they feel like we do that this Tesla Roadster is the first EV of any consequence to really start the EV revolution. And some of the things out of the article, by the way, they say, when a little California upstart named Tesla Motors released a limited production electric sports car in 2008, nobody could have predicted that the same company would someday be the most valuable car maker in the world and credited with sparking the electric vehicle revolution. Now that Tesla Roadsters are becoming hot collectibles, skyrocketing in price, the Elon Musk empire has exploded. Now, how many did they make? The original production run on the Tesla Roadster was around 2,450. And the reason it's a bit murky, there were cars like the engineering prototypes and the validation prototypes, which usually remain with the car manufacturers. Some of those escaped and snuck into the user or into the owner base. And those are probably going to be highly collectible in the future because they really weren't supposed to be out there. But the Tesla Roadster was released between 2008 and 2012 in Europe. They stopped in 2011 in the United States. and they sold for around 100,000. I think the biggest ticket item or the biggest sticker that we saw on a Tesla Roadster that came through our shop was $157,000.
Wow.
And that was for, full carbon fiber treatment and a sport version, of course. And
Pete, so can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely.
So these articles were saying that the value of these cars has more than doubled just over the last 2 years. So what is it? What is the reason? What happened in the last 2 years that caused specifically the price of these cars to increase so much of the value?
Well, I'm proud to say that we had something to do with that.
Really?
Yes. And one of the things that happened with this matchmaking service, whenever a seller came to us and said, how much is my car worth? I would coach them and say, look, in the world of selling anything, you usually start high and then you come down because it makes the buyer feel like they got a bargain.
Sure.
As that began to occur over about a 1.5-year span or so, I noticed that the Roadster prices were beginning to edge up because some of them sold for asking price. And that, of course, set the precedent for the next car to be sold. It's kind of like the real estate market where you have comp values.
Right. It's got to be exciting, too, to see the value of these cars increasing when, am I right? Aren't there more Roadsters collected? Aren't there more Roadsters here in the Gruber Motor Company complex together than anywhere else in the world?
There are. If you go over to Gruber Motor Company right now, you'll see over 50 Roadsters in the shop. And
nowhere else on the planet can you find 50 Roadsters in one place except for here in your business.
That is correct.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a notable achievement. We have about 2 to 3% of the world's Roadsters here.
Super cool.
And they keep coming in, by the way. Every time I go over there to look to see how many there are, we're hoping that we get good inventory turn and our customers are getting their cars back. But what ends up happening is there's so much that we do to the Roadster to improve it. Customers continue to select new improvements for their Roadster, and some of them stay here longer than we would like. Yes, question? Okay. So we're going to reboot it here. All right. If you will bear with us, we're going to reboot. We've got some production problems, and we're going to start the stream again here shortly.